march in Free Palestine Rallies in Sydney and Melbourne on Sunday, May 15. Protesters in Australia have joined rallies around the world against Israeli military attacks in Gaza, where fighting continues. A rally at Sydney's town hall drew a large crowd objecting to the decades-long Israeli occupation of historical Palestine terrorists. Speaking at the Sydney event, Green Senator Mehreen Faruqi condemned the escalating situation in Gaza. What is happening in Palestine now is not an isolated incident. It is a part of a broader pattern of destroying the lives of Palestine, she said. The Australian government has repeated its support for a two-state solution and called for Israel and Hamas to de-escalate the conflict. Many of the Australian rallies spoke of Israel. Randa Abdul Fateh, a writer and Palestine activist, was one of around 9,000 people who attended a rally at Sydney Town Hall. She said access to social media had been driving force in the growing support for Palestine. Pehchan TV had this opportunity to cover the whole rally. Iraqi, Lebanese, Tamil, Syrian and Sikh community, along with Pakistan Australia Association, had joined this peaceful protest outside Town Hall in Sydney. Australian's Grand Mufti Dr. Ibrahim Abu Muhammad, who spoke through a translator, told the crowd he was saddened by news and attacks in Gaza. There was a heavy police presence at the Sydney rally and some tense exchanges between officers and protesters. Many from Sydney activist groups marched under the banner Standing Together, beating drums and chanting slogans as they made their way through the city. Despite the chilling temperature in the city, droves of people turned out to the rally to show support for the cause. Palestine will be free. Thousands turned out in Sydney to protest against Israeli strikes.
I'm on the steps in front of the town hall. Come to the steps. I'm in front. I didn't.
العين العوراء تتحدث عن حق المعتدي في الدفاع عن نفسه، بينما لا تتحدث عن حق الضحية وفتيات فلسطين ونساء فلسطين أقوى من أزيز الطائرات وأقوى من دوي المدافع.
One of them, a bride-to-be, waiting for Ramadan to end so she can wed her husband. The Mufti first wishes to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present and future. Thank you to all the free and honourable people in Australia and all over the world. Thank you to everyone who has a living conscience.
Muslims across the world are suffering under oppression, including the Kashmiris, the Rohingyas, the Uyghurs, and especially the Palestinians. At this time, politicians across the board are wishing us Eid Mubarak. They are wishing us well. They're taking ads out in community papers to wish us Eid Mubarak. And I want to call on those politicians and ask them to speak out against the oppressive Israeli regime.
Free, free Gaza!
Free, free Gaza!
Free, free Gaza!
Free, free Gaza!
That's Gadigal land and pay my respects to elders past and present. This is stolen land. Sovereignty was never ceded, and it was and always will be Aboriginal land.
This same tune is what I need to hear in the piece I'm about to deliver. I've written a poem and it's titled Pehchan. Every single time you hear a line that you like, I need you to cheer that same cheer.
Fighting for the freedom, rights and liberation of Palestinians on the unceded sovereign land, sky and sea of the Gadigal. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're gathered today and pay my respects to elders past and present. I've been told that the police want us to start marching and that I will be silenced. If they want me to be silenced, they can come to the steps.
Amen!
Meanwhile, in central Melbourne, protesters holding Palestine flags gathered outside the State Library. After speeches, the protesters marched through the streets of central Melbourne to Parliament House. The protest was organized to mark Al-Nakba Day for the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who fled or were expelled in the fighting during the creation of Jewish state. Ume Habiba, Pehchan TV, Australia.